And welcome to another look at an early access title. Yes, I have a problem, I know. I wonder if there's like an early access anonymous program I could get involved with. That would definitely be helpful. Now this game is called Armello, and it just released on Steam a couple of weeks ago. Basically it's a digitalized tabletop game. It's got all the same elements. It's got cards and dice rolling and a board to move around and tile sets to get involved with, and just a very sort of defined focus and defined mechanics that you're working with. The basic gameplay involves becoming the next ruler of this country. The king's slowly dying and also getting corrupted from this rot, and it's your job to either take over any way you can or be the last one standing kind of thing. Now as for the gameplay, it's a hexagonal style small board that you're moving around with a few different tile sets to work with, each with their own mechanic. You've got forests which can help you hide in them. You've got big mountains that give you an extra defense when you're on them. You've got dungeons to explore that can give you, certain benefits, certain items. You've got circles for healing. And then you've got just your basic planes and that sort of stuff to move around. Now what you'll be doing on this map to start with and throughout the game is following your quest. Now each time you complete a quest, it gives you certain benefits like extra gold or extra magic or maybe another card to use. But the most important thing you're after at the start, and even throughout the entire game, is something called prestige. Each time you get a quest, you get more prestige, and this helps you in a number of ways. The king has a couple of edicts each day that you can choose from if you're the highest prestige owner, and it's quite advantageous to have this. It's, you can benefit from it all, but it's more just minimizing the damage to yourself. The other reason you want prestige is that's, I would say, the main win state. At the end of the game, if the king's dead and no one else has done anything important like that, the winner will be the person with the greatest prestige. It's a democracy, the land at the end. The people decide that you're the best ruler and they put you in place. Through the game, it's a constant challenge though. It's a constant competition for this prestige. Everyone's doing their quests for it, but there's a few other ways to gain it as well. You can get it from defeating a corrupted mob called the Thane. You can even get it by killing other people with prestige. You'll gain a prestige and they'll also lose one at the same time. So there's a constant conflict around that, and just battling for the top, battling for the most. Every time you die, you also lose one of these as well, whether it's through an enemy or not. So it's a very risk-reward style game. You're wondering if you should take the next move, you should move next to that opponent. Should I attack that opponent? And also defending your claims, being careful with your prestige, because you really want to protect that number. There is a combat style element, obviously, and this is your dice rolling. There's a few different dice tops that account for if you've done a hit or if you're defending. And you're watching that play out, and it's all RNG, obviously. So depending on that is whether you will win or lose that combat. A few ways to work around that as well. You've got cards that you'll get at the end of each day. You'll equip your you'll equip your maximum number of cards. So you keep using them through the match and keep regaining them all the time, it keeps the game running very smoothly. With these cards, you can equip certain ones which will give you bonuses to your stats. Some will be more defense, some will be more attack. You can also have followers that might give you certain bonuses when you're attacking. And then you can also use some of these cards during battle as well to give you an advantage. Combat cards will give you another hit. Defense cards, another defense, that sort of stuff. But you've got to kind of be careful, because each time you use one of these cards, you'll take away one of your dice that you're about to roll as well. And you don't want to leave yourself too open with no cards too. They do have a lot of really great benefits, not even in combat, but just during gameplay to equip, obviously, but also maybe put status effects on other enemies. You can also put certain curses from the trickery line on tile sets to stop people from moving there, or benefit yourself from putting there. So there's a lot of way to use these cards than just combat. As the game progresses, it does get a lot more intense. The king slowly losing health, everyone else is working on their own plans and working towards that win. And you're working towards as well, we're also being aware of what other players are doing. Now, I've talked about prestige. That's kind of the blank win. You know, if nothing's happened beforehand, person with greatest prestige wins, done. But the other ways to win is first get into the castle through those trap cards, and second to either kill the king through combat, a couple of ways there, and also to purge the land with certain things called the Spirit Stone. But I don't know, these win states just seem a lot harder at times. I've only done a couple of those through all my games so far, and by far prestige is the easiest. It's just prestige, just wait it out and stop other people from getting to the town or taking the prestige off them. That's an easy way to play. To kill the king, he gets a lot of dice to roll. And to get the win from the kill, you have to survive that as well, and that's a rather hard thing to do. The second to purge, get the purging stones and do that, you still have to do that trap card, and then you have to get in with them. And it can be quite hard to get those. Like, you don't get those purging stones everywhere. They're only a random chance from the dungeons. People can take them off you when they kill you as well. You can sometimes even lose them on death. And there's a couple other mechanics there that take them away as well. The trap to get into the castle is rather hard too. You mostly only get 4 dice to roll. Some only 3. And you've got to get the exact 4 markers to get in there. And as you know, with 4 dice and getting the 4 exact things, it's very hard to do. Of course, you can use your cards for this, and that's pretty much the only way I've found to get in there. Get the right cards, use them in that thing, and then you're in. But then you're not even guaranteed to stay in there. The guards can knock you out immediately. The king could kill you. It's just not guaranteed. It's incredibly hard. And that's where I think the game falls down. It becomes very limited in the strategies you're using and how you're playing, just based on how easy that prestige win is and how easy it is to defend yourself and let maybe everyone else tear themselves apart. The multiplayer is a bit more fun, has a bit more diversity there, but when you're playing the AI, it just feels very limited and just not as fun, I guess. With the small map as well and those win states, it also feels like a few characters have the advantage here. Like, the wolf character gets extra combat dice, which really helps in knocking out your opponents, obviously killing the king as well. And then when you're knocking out opponents, you're getting extra prestige and their purging stones from it. So having the best combat is the best strategy almost. Now, you can beat that guy by having the better items and that, but it leaves you in a perilous position to start off with, because he will automatically be better. And then you got characters like the bear who have the worst combat stats, and I've really never seen win because of that. They get more magic, but the magic really doesn't help them as much. You can only use so much magic in a turn, in a day, before it recharges, and you only have so many cards to use, whereas the combat stat, it's all the time, it's everywhere, it's every time you fight. And yeah, that just makes the game feel a lot more limited because of it. You got the rat character as well, who is able to hold more cards, therefore will get an advantage in that trap, because you can use more cards to kind of get around it. And he can be very useful as well, so it's kind of, I found like the other characters a bit more limited in how they play. I've still won with them, but it seems like an uphill battle at times compared to the wolf or the rat. You've just got that natural advantage from the start. And it's that sort of balancing I really think they need to work on. Killing the king, incredibly hard sometimes. You're gonna die most of the time you face him. And getting the secondary kill win state where you have enough corruption even more than him, that's almost impossible. You have to die so many times to those things to get corrupted enough, or corrupt yourself through spells, before you can even approach that win state, and then it involves getting in there, and then it involves even killing him. It's piling up issue after issue after issue on these other win states. Whereas Prestige, it's easy. It's got dedicated focus. It's got your own wins. It's an easy strategy to plan for. And it's not one that can be easily stopped once you get ahead either. And I don't know, just because you have such low action points and not such, low amount of movements, it makes the games feel entirely too random. It's all controlled by these dice rather than strategy mostly. It's all controlled by the luck that you might get the right cards you need. It's just too luck based and not enough strategy. And that, I don't know, that's not as enjoyable for a digital game, especially one where there's multiplayer as well. You want there to be a little skill involved, you want there to be a bit of strategizing to get that win. And that's where I definitely think this does need improvement. Now, after saying that, it is a good game as it is now, but probably not worth what they're trying to charge. It is incredibly polished, the game runs well, the mechanics are tight, and just the way the game runs, except for those other win states, does have a nice flow to it. Even the UI is just perfect. You've got all your stats right there ready for you to watch. You can watch the other party members and what they're equipping and what they're using. The cards are brilliant, and even the outside menu system where you can flick through all the cards you've found. There's a progression system involved with each character where you can get different start stats. So there's ways to improve your character throughout the match, and it's just well done in that respect. It's just, I don't know how much replayability the game would have. It's not something that has the epic strategy of your basic tabletop. It's not something I could really keep playing even in the multiplayer version. I don't know, I just get bored with it. Overall, I'd say it's more of a wait and see kind of game. It's like I said, it's well polished, the mechanics are interesting. I generally liked the play style, but there's just not enough to grab me there, and the problems it has limits my enjoyment.